Good morning, Jim. Pizza, clean the car. And it's a lovely, lovely day. Blue skies, perfect day for the pool later as well. We shall continue with what we started last night in terms of my discovery in categorizing Bitcoiners. Now, you never want to put anyone into a box, but boxes are helpful to help, guide your decision making sometimes. So we're going to continue. I'll just go right in. So first up, traders. These are people who they have long-term stashes of Bitcoin, but for the most part, they are buying and selling in and out and trying to um, basically buy low, sell high, right? They are looking to take advantage of the volatility, and in fact, I would say about so for everyone who tries trading is obviously stressful. It needs time. It takes research. It takes, but really spending the time. And whether it's Bitcoin or other things like whether like foreign exchange or stocks, even, um, you can make like 3% per month. I've heard of 9% per month when they're really into it. But and if you really stick to it, I'd say it's 40% of people in the space are rather successful traders, and then the rest kind of they're just dabbling around or move on to other areas that they're more experts of. Um, I'll probably tie back in what how each of them kind of relate to lending, but I mentioned before, I think with traders, they're happy to take short-term loans, pay higher rates, and use that to kind of leverage some trades and make bigger bucks. Next group is I'm putting it into the category of the people who want to buy their first home. Like they don't have their first home yet. They want to buy their first home or get their fiance a wedding ring. Maybe get into a nicer car. It's been a long time they've been patiently holding Bitcoin, or just been accumulating while they do another job. Um, or even it's a category where like they're all into Bitcoin, but their life partner, is very not into Bitcoin, and you can't just do everything on your own, right? Um, And these guys are usually actually better off buying ETF Bitcoin, MSTR. I'm sure traders have MSTR too, but they feed really well, I think, into the thesis of just like, well, ETF Bitcoin, banks lend against those ETFs and allow you to borrow. Like if you want to put a down payment for your mortgage, and or it's you usually might have a 9 to 5 job or your own business, or you have a way of generating cash flow so that you can support a regular mortgage application and just use a down payment to get from your Bitcoin. You borrow, you put it into your account 3 months, or you don't even need to borrow against your Bitcoin. You could, I hate to say it, but you can actually just sell your ETF Bitcoin that you have been holding in a tax-free account for mortgage purposes. After that, third group, you have entrepreneurs and business people. They find opportunities and ways to leverage Bitcoin for specific things, usually involving real world assets. And the demands are usually more than 150K in Bitcoin. It could be less, but for turning inventory, for buying another business, for doing a reno flip, these kinds of things. They are very used to actually rates of 12, 14% on lines of credit. Secured and unsecured, and they will work with private lenders a lot here. And I think this is the group that actually cares about self custody, and it's not the majority. Like that's the thing. This is not the majority. Majority people still obviously work a 9 to 5 or have a regular cash flow source, and aren't just taking on uh, business opportunities for obvious reasons. Now, this is a small market, and I think it's actually well served in a peer-to-peer space. Um, if like especially if they don't want variable rates, if they want variable rates, if they're okay with variable rates and bridging risks and stuff like that, like Aave provides a pretty good solution. But for those who care about, self custody, they worry about counterparty risk, as these guys are and should be. Um, Peer to peer actually makes a lot of sense. Now, who's next after that? Now, I'm moving actually from to the other side, the lenders. These are people lending against Bitcoin. And usually they might be exchanges, or they'll have extra cash in hand, or a particular thesis that requires them to have a certain amount of cash in hand. But see, what they're really in for, they're in for the cash flow, obviously, but what they're really in for is getting access to discount Bitcoin. This is another part of the reason why I think we're going to struggle to see with liquidation free options. They want to see the price go down and they want to liquidate people as it goes down, and or just get their cash back, or as the rates sorry when Bitcoin price goes down, they continue to get paid. The margins, people top up their holdings on a margin call, and this gives them more flexibility with their cash to acquire Bitcoin at a discount, even if they don't liquidate. But I tell you, if you were a lender, you would want to have a liquidation so that you could get discount Bitcoin. There are other ways to do this, which I think that's the area that I want to expand our business into. Be a bit more fair on both sides, but I'll come back to that in a bit more. So after the lenders, we're talking about people who might want to retire on Bitcoin. This is, I don't know what group is this, 4, group 5? I think it's group 5. These are the people that already have their first home. They're mostly pretty well settled. They're probably a little older, and they are now looking to either retire on Bitcoin or set up a fund for their kids. And they'll participate in a lot of things like MSTR options, farming tax losses. I think tax loss farming is like the biggest thing, which options helps to allow them to do as well. And Bitcoin treasury businesses, again, MSTR or other options that are coming up as well. Are they looking to borrow? For most of them, they don't need to borrow. They can just sell off bits of Bitcoin that they've profited on or whatever. They usually have on one side, they could just leave Canada, US, exit, pay the tax, and then live somewhere else and not be taxed. But for those who have roots here and they want to stay here, they can still just cash out depending on their lifestyle, right? If their lifestyle is like 200K a year, then okay, maybe it makes sense to borrow. If their lifestyle is like in the 100K a year, they can cash out their capital gains pretty within the exclusions and not be affected by the tax all that much as I might have initially been concerned about. For those for those living on a 200K lifestyle, again, a very small market. Now, group 6, you have the miners, exchange operators, and business owners. Now, one sec. When I say small market, it's going to grow. All of these sectors and Bitcoiners in general as a group, I think, are going to grow both in wealth and in numbers over the next 10 years. So I think there's still an opportunity to feed each and every one of these, but it's are we going to see immediate scale in lending to these communities? I kind of doubt it. Which sucks to say because I've been trying to push lending as a solution, but anyway, more commentary. Finally, you have we're going to go over 10 minutes, whatever. Finally, you have the miners, exchange operators, and business owners earning Bitcoin as revenue. They already make Bitcoin yield and want more and easier ways to earn Bitcoin yields of 1% to 3% or even more. They've generally been burned before, and they are looking for self-custody ways to do this. I doubt that that's actually possible. You do have to put some Bitcoin at risk to get results, so trust matters a lot. And further beyond that, you have niches, halal finance, Sharia compliance, privacy protection. So I'll have more to say on each of these, but I just wanted to close that off there as a 6-7